Okay, peeps, if you're tracking your notes, I basically added some tips, some quick hits on adding and subtracting decimal. And, basically, what it is that you perform the operation the same as you would perform on whole numbers, with the exception is that you just line up the points, right? You just line up the points. So that's really where students just make errors, right? It says to add decimals, write the numbers so that the decimal point are on a vertical line. Add as you would with whole numbers, right? So for example, now if you're asked to find the sum of 8.238 plus a whole number 19 plus 7.8974, and how we would say that this is actually 8 and 238 thousandths, because 8 is in the thousands place. That's 19. And this is 7 and 8,974 ten thousandths, right? 4 places. 4 is in the 10,000 spot. And that's just to get you a little used to converting your decimal into words, because it is going to be an exam question. So what they're saying is that you just line up the decimal points as you would vertically, right? Now 19, be very careful. The decimal point of a whole number is always at the end, at the right end. That's where your decimal point of a whole number is. So this is 19. Line them up under their proper places. The 9 is in the ones place. 8 is in the ones place. Line them up under their proper place. And what I will do, I will add zeros as placeholders so that I can guide my addition properly. So here we have our 7 and 8,974 ten thousandths. Ha! That's a mouthful. 7 is in the ones place, so I still lining up my place value as I should. Lining up the decimal point should guide you in the right direction, and this is 8,974. Notice the first two terms had 3 places and the last term had 4. So please use 0 as a placeholder so that you will not get confused when you're doing your addition. So here we go. Zeros and 4 will give you 4. 8 and 7 is 15. Carry over the 1. This is 4 and 9 is 13. Carry over the 1. This is 10 and 1 is 11. Carry over the 1. This is 18 and 7 is 25. Carry over the 2. This is 3 and it's 35. And 1,354 ten thousandths. Simply put in it 35.1354. Ta-da! That's what your texts have too. I didn't cheat. I did it off the cuff of my head. Ha ha ha. Okay, good. So let's talk about subtraction. Let's talk about subtraction. So here we have an example. So this was the addition example. Then we have a subtraction. Right? So this would be 8. We have a 8. They want you to find the difference. Find the difference of 8 and 35 hundredths and 2 and 9,187 ten thousandths. All right. So again, I line up my decimal point, put them under the correct place values. This is ones, put the 2 under the ones. And I see that the highest place value of any term was in the 10,000 space. So I'll use 0 as a placeholder. And now I'll perform my subtraction. So here we go. So the usual concept of borrowing. There's a better way to explain subtraction, but not at this forum. So I'll do it the old school method, borrowing. The new school method is oh goodness, my son taught me it when he was in 3rd grade. Oh my goodness, you're I forgot. I know it, but I can't explain it. It's where you redistribute the place values. Anyway, another time. So here we have 10 from 7 is 3. 9 from 8 is 1. 4 from 1 is 3. Here again, we'll have to redistribute this one's place. Anyway, I'll explain another day. And that's 13 from 9 is 4. And 7 from 2 is 5. So my final answer for this evaluation is 5 and 4,313 10,000, or 5.4313 as in your text. Now the rules of signs is always in place. The rules of sign is always in place. So for example, you might be asked to evaluate, or they might say add, or they might say subtract. And I'll try to keep it as simple as possible. 0.35 minus 7.26. Here we go. Rules of sign still in place. So here we see that this is saying to find the opposite of a negative, which is a positive, or it's saying to add the opposite. So add the opposite of a negative is positive. That's one way of looking at it. You can look at this negative as two factors. So if we have two factors that are the like signs, it yields a positive. All right. Or we can say that to subtract a negative is to add. Okay. So either way, you are very familiar with this. The rules of signs still come into play. So this now is 7.26 and 0.35. So it's an addition based on the instructions given here, right? So that is 11, 6, 7.61. So let's say, the opposite happened now. Let's say it's 0.35 minus 7.26. Again, here is saying to add the opposite of 7, right? So obviously this is the positive one and this is the negative term. So we have terms with unlike signs. That means a subtraction have to take place and we have to take the sign of the greater magnitude. So we're going to perform the subtraction where we're going to take the smaller magnitude from the greater magnitude, right? And that's 1, that's 9. And we know that because 7 had the negative term had the greatest magnitude, we keep the sign of the greatest magnitude. So signs are still in full effect. Once you're working with expressions, equations, terms, and factors, signs will always take full effect. Doesn't matter if your number is a decimal, a fraction, a whole number, integer, doesn't matter. Okay? Alrighty. Was that for addition or subtraction? I believe so. Next.